All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation Week 16 Cash Game Show. Just doing a quick hit video this week. Will probably be the case here for the rest of the season, as it's kind of hard earlier in the week to kind of pinpoint who the players are. There's a lot of news that typically breaks these last few weeks, so some of the information might be relevant. But the goal, as always, is to kind of start to build that player pool here, and then like we always talk about, get on over to SHIPITNation.com, where we have 4 cores for DraftKings, 4 cores for FanDuel, get you on the right path. And then if you are a member, obviously get in the Discord and ask any additional questions that you may have. We still have our deals kind of going right now. Black Friday deal still up. BF50 gets you 50% off any all access package. First month, 50% off, and good time to get in. Obviously, PGA starting up right at the beginning of the year. So we'll have full content for PGA. We got NFL, cover all the NFL slate, showdown. There's a lot of 2 gamers, 3 gamers coming up. So a good time to get all access. If you're just interested in football, which does include college football, so NFL and college football content, $99 for the rest of the season. If you want that with the Shiptimizer, $129. So very good deal to get you in the door over here at SHIPITNation.com. All right, so we'll go through each position, see what we can find. I'm using the Shiptimizer, has all our projections loaded. The one thing that does stand out, not a ton of injury news. Like, there's not much that we're waiting on, though. I'm sure there's going to be some surprises that pop up here in the next couple of days, just because the nature of where we're at in the season, like week 16. And surprises do tend to happen, so we have to keep an eye on the news throughout the weekend. I have it sorted here by projected points. As you can see, Josh Allen at the top, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray. The one thing that definitely stands out to me, it's probably a go cheap sort of week. I'm going to sort it by projected value, and for us, Michael Penix Jr. Is there 4,500 taking over for Kirk Cousins. I mean, it was a steep decline for Kirk Cousins, and we talked about it. I believe it was the 2-game slate on Monday, where he just has not looked good, and that obviously continued into Monday night game. So he's on the bench. Penix is in. 4,500 represents a really good value. I mean, my initial lean is probably going cheap at quarterback. You got Penix, and then if you have $900 more, you get all the way up to Anthony Richardson, who I think is fine. I'm not going to mess with Dorian Thompson Robinson. I'll definitely pass on that. If I'm going cheap, it's Penix, it's Anthony Richardson. I don't mind the Kyler Murray price tag at 6,100. I think he's fine. Kind of have the hand builder thing up here so we can kind of see where we're at. So I'm going to just put Penix in. Don't have to play him. I don't think he's a lock, but kind of gets us started on the right path. A guy who I do think is a lock is, when you go over to the running back position, is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. No David Montgomery. Gibbs should get a majority of the work. Very dynamic, can catch passes. They're going to mix in some of the other guys for sure. Craig Reynolds, and then the Vacky dude or whatever his name is not playable for DFS. But Jahmyr Gibbs, we have him projected for right around 25 fantasy points. Clearly our best value when you sort by value. Yep, he's at the top, so I'd be totally fine just playing him. I think he's a lock, so I'm obviously going to play him. Got Bijan, good spot against the Giants. You got Saquon, 8,300 against the Commanders. Now, if we do have the ability to get another spend, I think that is a tough decision between those two. I like James Conner at 7,100. If they're playing from the lead, it just gets so much work. I don't mind Chuba Hubbard on the other side. I think those are both fine options. I'm going to leave the second spot blank, though. I feel good with like Hubbard, Conner. Swift is pretty cheap at 5,600. We like him. I think that's a fine price tag if you want to get there. Chase Brown, the price is up a little bit. Where is he? 77, but man, it just gets so much work. So Gibbs, and then kind of probably have to see. But I'm anticipating probably one of Hubbard and Connor, and I think I prefer Connor over Hubbard. Wide receiver, going by projected points, Jamar Chase at the top, 8,500. He's been phenomenal. Got Justin Jefferson, 82. If deciding between the two, I'd probably go Chase. Projections lean that way too. Puka just has been an absolute beast. Devontae Adams is going to just continue to get fed. Drake London, man, it's kind of tough with Penix in there, but you'd assume he's going to rely on his wide receiver one. Neighbors, cheap price tag, 61. The one thing that definitely stands out, though, when you sort by value is the Chicago guys are in a really good spot. Caleb Williams has not looked great, but they're probably down here. Lions defense is very beat up. I think for sure I probably want one of those guys in my lineup, either Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. The price is just way, way too cheap for me. Obviously a Lions fan, but they're beat up right now. And if I know I'm playing Gibbs, you get a little natural correlation. So as of now, we'll slot in Keenan Allen. You got Neighbors. Calvin Ridley, I think, is always a fine option, 5,700. Coker's had a big roll, 42. I think a fine value if you want to save some money, or we have the ability to save some money. Wandale at 41. David Moore, 36. Devonta Smith at 5,800. I don't mind at all. I think that's a totally fine price tag. Kind of a wide open position, though, really. If we have the money, yeah, maybe we spend. But I like getting one of these Chicago guys in there, whether it's Keenan Allen or DJ Moore, and then kind of see what we have left. Let's go to tight end, see what we have here. Sorted by points. We got McBride at 62. I think he's a fine option if you can get up there. There was a little quote that they're getting. I think Kyler Murray said they're getting him a touchdown. He has like all these catches all season long and no touchdowns. He said he's getting him the touchdown this week. So I do think, I'm not a big believer in following like all the narratives, but if he's going to get a couple extra red zone targets, which I think is probably the case, like I'm definitely interested. Can we get there in cash? I don't know. We'll have to see, but I think certainly in the conversation, I am buying that talking point. So let's see if we do sort. So we got McBride at 62, and then, Mayer continues to get a lot of work. I mean, even with Bowers, a lot of two tight end sets. I think the one piece of news, Jacoby Myers is questionable. He was limited Thursday, so that's something to keep an eye on. Like if he is out, Mayer would get a boost at 2,900. Brenton Strange. I guess he's officially questionable, but 12 targets last week. Pretty good spot against Los Angeles or against Las Vegas. Definitely something to keep an eye on. A lot more times than not, I'd probably going cheap. I'm just going to put in one of these cheap guys and see what it does for our build. And then I'm going to go to defense, and I don't really care what I get at defense, to be honest with you. So let's see. We got Titans up here at 26. Let me just sort by value. I'm just going to plug in a cheapish. Just plug in Titans and see where we're at. So this sort of build, cheap quarterback, Jahmyr Gibbs, Keenan Allen, cheap tight end, cheap defense. We have 6,700 left per spot. A lot you can do. We talked about some guys at running back you can spend up, or you could hit like Connor Hubbard at wide receiver. I think, spending in one spot, then going all the way down to maybe like a Coker makes complete sense. In the flex, I'm not opposed to even playing like a McBride. Like these are the wide receiver ones, like him, Bowers. I think I would lean McBride. That talking point of them getting a touchdown kind of pushed me over the edge, and I do think they're actually going to potentially go for it and give them some extra look. So it's kind of the starting point, I think, for DraftKings. We'll see if any news kind of breaks throughout the weekend, but I think this is a good starting point. The one stone lock for sure, though, is Gibbs. Like you got to play him in cash this week. All right, let's flip over to FanDuel. Before we do so, please do us a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe on this video. Helps us out a ton. All our shows are free. We intend on keeping them free. We really like our YouTube community and thank them for all the support. So like, subscribe, that's all we ask. All right, let's flip over FanDuel, see what we got. A lot of times on FanDuel, you can make the case to spend up at quarterback, and you could this week too. I mean, Josh Allen at the top projected the most, and then $1,100 cheaper is Burrow. They're passing at such a high rate, on pace for a monster game last week. Then they got it was 1 or 2 pick sixes. I do want to see because I mentioned that on the previous show. It really just killed him. Like he was going to have a massive game. They had like 18 fantasy points at halftime. They get the pick six. Yeah, 1 pick six, and I think they got it like another interception that was relatively close. So he's fine at 83. Probably prefer him over Kyler. Jalen Hurts at 86. So there are guys if you want to spend. And like I said, you always have the ability to spend. So $6K for Penix. Not 4,500, but I would definitely take him as my cheap quarterback. Like I'm fine going all the way down. Like 6K, I'm fine with. Does have some rushing upside. They're her big favorite. Should have offensive success here, so I'd be totally fine with him at 6K. Let me just check one other thing. Come on, 6K. Can definitely do a lot, but again, on FanDuel, it's not as necessary. I do prefer Penix over DTR. Caleb Williams, 72. There's a lot right there. So I'm not even going to put – let's just put Penix in just to see what sort of build. And I'm not saying that I much prefer him on DK over FanDuel in cash games. I will say that. See what sort of value we have, though, and maybe we can come back and make some adjustments. So Jahmyr Gibbs, 8,300. Just play him on FanDuel and DraftKings. 83, I think, is a very, very good price tag for him. Let me sort this by points. So we got Gibbs at the top, got Bijan, Saquon right around 9K each, got James Conner. Then another price that definitely stands out is going to be Chuba Hubbard at 7,100. Massive workload. It's just a very, very cheap price tag for him. Makes a lot work on the slate. I am pretty inclined to probably play those two. And then it's probably a 3 running back week. So who's the last guy we're kind of putting in there? I think there's options like Chase Brown at 82. I don't hate. Like if you can't get up to Bijan or Saquon as a 3rd running back, like I'm totally fine going to a Chase Brown or even James Conner. That's kind of a tough decision for me between those two. Maybe you go Conner on DK and then Chase Brown on FanDuel, but the 82 is solid. They're big favorites. They're favored by, I want to say like 9. Yeah, they're favored by 9 at home. They're projected to score 28 real life points. I think Chase Brown is a good play, but I'm fine going like this, like Gibbs, Hubbard to kind of start. I'm going to plug in a cheap defense as well, just to, that's actually a solid one for cash, most likely. We'll see. Let me sort by value. 4,300 for 4K for the Falcons at home, favored by like a lot, favored by 8.5. Yeah, we'll just plug them in, see what we got. All right. Wide receiver. If we sort by projected points, we got Jamar Chase at the top, 9,500. Jefferson 9K. They've done a really good job with these wide receivers all season long, pricing them appropriately, and even running backs. FanDuel, really good job. Mike Evans 88, Devontae Adams 84, CeeDee Lamb 8. That must be the Sunday night game? I'm assuming. Yep, Bucks and Cowboys. He's 85. Drake London 74. Probably less likely to spend up at wide receiver on FanDuel opposed to DK. I don't even love it on DK, but I am less likely to do it over here. Sort by value. There's always like a very strong mid-range here on FanDuel, and Calvin Ridley is cheaper over here than the Chicago guys. I would be fine doing something like this, like going Calvin Ridley. He gets a lot of attention, and then a Chicago guy as well. To see what that does for us. We'll go Keenan again. So like Ridley and then and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are only 100 apart here. You could do one of those natural hedge situations. Play one on DK, play the other on FanDuel. Totally fine doing that sort of thing. I think Drake London has a good price tag. Elijah Moore 5,500. They're likely playing from behind. Garrett Wilson, 71. That stands out as a pretty solid option. But I think it's probably like one of the Chicago guys and Calvin Ridley, and then kind of see what you have. I don't even mind like Juwan Jennings. I think where's he at? 7K. They lost Garendo. Maybe they pass a little bit. Debo's looked so bad, man. Debo has looked terrible. Juwan Jennings is 7K. I don't hate him as a play in cash, but I think you're going one of the Chicago guys. Again, it's a good natural correlation situation where you're playing Gibbs. You're going to have one of the pass catchers for Chicago. I don't think Ridley is a lock, but the 5,900 sub 6K price tag makes a lot of work. I just want to kind of see where we're at here. I'm going to leave him off though, just because I don't want to, put like a full team or anything out there. But this sort of building block, I think, makes a lot of sense to start. All right, tight end, sorting by projected points. McBride's at the top, 75, Bauer 77. I probably would lean McBride over Bowers again. We haven't seen, obviously the Raiders season's over. Only 5 targets, 6 targets the last 2 games. Hasn't been on the field in some interesting spots. I'd lean McBride over Bowers, and then you get the added bonus of the quarterback talk where he says he wants to get him a touchdown, and I actually do believe that, and I think it could lead to some additional red zone targets for McBride. And I don't know if we have the money. Like right now, we have 2 wide receiver spots open, a tight end, and a flex. I know in the flex, I likely want a quarterback, or I likely want a running back. We have 7,100 left, so we're going to have to go cheap somewhere, whether it's wide receiver or tight end. Let's sort tight end by value, see what we have. So McBride and Bowers at the top. Hunter Henry at 5K is cheap, and they're definitely playing from behind against the Bills, who look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Hunter Henry, the targets are always there. So 5K for him, I think, is too cheap. That would open up just about everything for us. So, yeah, that would put us at 7,800 per spot. We're going to be able to get our 3rd solid running back. We're probably maybe going to be able to get a spend at wide receiver if we want, or we could come back and upgrade Penix Jr. to somebody else. Maybe it's Caleb Williams at 72. Could do something like that. So a lot of flexibility if you go cheap at tight end. I think Hunter Henry's totally fine. Like 5K, always gets the targets. They're definitely playing from behind. So this sort of starting point's fine. Like I said, you can go back and upgrade Penix if you want. I feel pretty good about this though. Like Hubbard, Gibbs, and a Chicago guy, cheap-ish defense. I think it's a good starting point for cash games. So obviously important to keep an eye on all the news. Like things can change at this point in the season very quickly. But as of now, relatively clean injury reports. Not a ton that we're waiting on. Again, we'll see. Things can pop up at this point in the season. We're at week 16. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're not a member, get on over. BF50 is the code. 50% off any all access monthly all access package at SHIPIT Nation. Our football rest of season 99, football rest of season with Shiptimizer 129, most affordable content in the industry. Appreciate your support. Good luck this week in your contest, and make sure to tune in Sunday morning, 9:45 Eastern. Myself, Title, Tambo, will break down the entire slate for you, main slate that is. So good luck in your contest this week. We'll be back.